350 years later, we come to the steamship. This long before Priestley and the Lavoisier, steel is not, we didn't have an idea about making steel, we didn't have any steam. So this is completely undreamable at the time of the first circuit. Then, 75 years later, we go around in an aluminum airplane. And 35 years later, we go around in an exotic metals rocket. Now this is amazing because these are contracting rates. 350 years, 75 years, 35 years. Approximately a very, very fast acceleration. The wooden sailing ship took 2 years to go around. The steel steamship took 2 months to go around the first time. Aluminum airplane 2 weeks to go around the first time. An exotic metal rocket a little over 1 hour. So we have a basic acceleration of science against time. Then of man turning the science to a technical advantage with environment controlling and sweeping out more and more of his environment. So we have then basic acceleration, we have then the contraction of rates between them, and the rate at which they go around. So it's very clearly a third power acceleration. On that map it is absolutely clear. By 1985, we'll have to have you going around in some way so surprising as for instance, sending around the radio. I just use that as the only way I can talk about. In other words, something was unimaginable from the earlier state. That's what the child is showing you. We maybe have your smash-ups there. I don't know. Anyway, we're in for great surprise. And because all the things that are going on are invisible, it's very hard for any of you to accredit the kind of things I see. But I think that chart is the best one I've ever found of getting people to understand the acceleration. I think surely might have a few more slides and see what comes on next. Oh, very good. Can you sharpen it up? Good. Very good. Up here, oh, I'm going to give you one more thing here. If I do that. Go to the octahedron. Take the octahedron, it has 6 vertexes. And I take the opposite vertexes and interconnect them and get the x and y and z axi. Right? Has a square section. If I put in those x, y, z axi, they cross each other at the center at 90 degrees. Right? I have 8 equiangular triangular faces. I can have what I call an asymmetric tetrahedron. The equiangular face here and 90-degree corners here. Others are 1/8 octahedron. I take this out of here. Can you see that? Or out of here? These 90-degree corners in the center. Can you see those? A 1/8 octahedron comes out of here. I'm going to take out 4 of those. This one, this one, this one, this one. Now, I'm going to take that equiangular face and put it on the face of a tetrahedron. The 90-degree corner will be sticking out. Makes what we call the cube. So when the tetrahedron had a volume of 1, the octahedron had a volume of 4, the 1/8 octahedron had a volume of 1/2. I took 4 times 1/2, which is 2. I added 2 to the tetrahedron as 1. Whenever the tetrahedron is 1, the cube is always 3. So it's very important for you to realize that the cube does not exist by itself. This is the cube. Absolutely no structural integrity whatsoever. You cut it out the novel, it's so intelligent. But its volume is 3. If I want to make it firm, it has 6 faces. I put a diagonal in it. But the 6 diagonals will be the 6 edges of the tetrahedron. Then it'll hold a shape. So I want you to realize that the cube then, physics dealing in centimeter gram second, where the gram is a cubic centimeter of water at a given temperature. But the cube as unity, x, y, z coordinates of physics. Very important to realize what I'm going to show you up here. I want you to look at the upper left-hand side, the squares. Where you were taught at school, the edge of the cube, the square reads 2. You have 4. 2 times 2 is 4. It's a squaring. Square of 9, of 3 is 9. Square of 4 is 16. I want you to look at triangles. 1. The edge reads 1. Edge reads 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Edge reads 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is the second power of 3. Edge reads 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. You can say triangle instead of squaring. And every square is 2 triangles. And nature is always most economical. And only triangles can hold their shape. And nature is continually second powering. As for instance, just that in attraction law. Nature is second powering Einstein's equation, E equals little c to the second power. Little c is the speed of radiation in one direction. You want to, the wave radiation has a surface growth. We always have, the systems just require that we identify the surface. Nature is continually second powering. I ask you, and in terms of your own integrity, I've given you experimental evidence here. When nature is second powering, what's she doing? Squaring or triangling? Do you have any courage to go along with experimental evidence of your own? Are you going to be an absolutely conditioned reflexer? School? Nature is triangling! Never doing anything else. I'm going to tell you how licked you really are by the Dark Ages. You didn't even dare speak up. You're shocked by it. The same way, tetrahedron. 1, tetrahedron. Octahedron, remember, has a volume of 4. So I have a 1, 1, 2, 3 tetra, and 1 octa. The total volume is 7. 1, 2, here I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 tetrahedron, and 1, 2, 3 octahedron. Octahedron has a volume of 4, 3 times 4 is 12, and 7 is 19. The volume is 19. 1, here's the upside down tetrahedron here. 1, 2, here's the upside down tetrahedron. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tetrahedron point up. 3 tetrahedron point down, 13, and octahedron, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is 4, 24. That adds up to 37. So now you put 1 added to 7 is 8. 7, if I add this to the 19, you get 28. You get 27. 8 to 8 is 19, 27. And your 19 and 37 is a 64. Otherwise, you say tetrahedron instead of cubing. Now, if you're using cubing, you're using 3 times as universes available. So the mathematics of physics is atrocious. It could be absolutely beautiful, low-order, rational number. Now, I'm pretty sure what I'm talking about was known long, long ago. We're just rediscovering it again. But this was, there are 2 volumes now of synergetics, 700 pages each. And we have really all the intertransformings of nature, everything goes on. I think I'll show you one. Let's remember that the tetrahedron has 4 planes of symmetry. Not 4, not 3. It's inherently 4-dimensional. If you take what we call the platonic solids and make them all of cheese, firm cheese that you can slice. We take the octahedron, slice parallel one of its faces, what's left over is no longer an octahedron. Take a cube of cheese, slice parallel one of its faces, what's left over is no longer a cube. Only one exception, take the tetrahedron, slice parallel one of its faces, left over absolute regular tetrahedron. You have 4 faces, never symmetry. It can accommodate all asymmetrical alteration without losing its coordinate symmetry. Only the tetrahedron do that. It is completely 4-dimensional. Now, I have another model here. Where is that other model down?
It's hanging there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. That's something I call a vector equilibrium. Remember when I had 12 spheres close packed around one? And 42 and 92, remember that? When you do, you have this hexagonal form. The four planes of the tetrahedron here. There's a plane with a hexagon here. Another one here, another one here, another one here. You can see this one. There are four planes of symmetry, and I've cut out the radii for a very special reason. I want you to think about a camera tripod. I spoke to you about vectors and vectors representing a mass given velocity in a given direction. I'm going to take the camera tripod, the three legs, the three vectors. They're trying to come apart, they're sliding apart. They're only fastened together at one end. They're disintegrating. I'm going to take three vectors of exactly the same magnitude and have them fastened together at both ends, makes a closed triangle and keeps it from coming apart. This is really the model of gravity. The difference, the same amount of energy is invested in radiation and the same amount in gravity, but the gravity is arranged in preferential. It's always double bond. It's always embracing, and radiation is always disintegrated. Anyway, I've taken out all the radii of the six hexagons here. I've taken apart I'm leaving only the gravitational forces, the embracing forces. See that red corner pointing towards you here on the table? I have a red corner pointing towards me up here. I'm going to lower this top triangle towards the triangle on the table. But I'm not allowed to twist it at all. The one on the table won't twist due to the rubber joints. But down she comes. The whole thing is contracting absolutely symmetrically, going from a volume of 20 to a volume of 4. Absolutely symmetrical contraction. I'm going to do it a little faster. The axis is not rotating and the equator is rotating. First time you've ever seen 4 dimensions of it. This is how atoms, which are 4-dimensional, then can have an axis that's not rotating and join another atom without frustrating all the rest of the motions. Absolutely essential. This goes then from the volume of 20 to the volume of 4. If this were astronomical, we had a mass attraction over here. Remember, this rotated that way, and the keep on plunges through, comes the tetrahedron, down to a volume of 1. Quadrivalent. Only the tetrahedron can turn itself inside out. Only the tetrahedron. Why? Because the octahedron. May I have octahedron where I put it? Good. If you plunge a vertex of the octahedron through, it runs into the opposite vertex here. Just collapses like a basketball, but it can't go any further. Icosahedron has enough force, I can dimple it locally. But tetrahedron throws in one of its vertexes and simply plunges through and becomes inside out. I'm sorry, this is not flexible enough to do it, but we do make a model of that, where we take a steel triangle rod and 3 rubber bands in the center and just punch it. You get the atomic clock going. Only the tetrahedron going inside out. Your black hole business is simply going inside out. Involute, evolute. So, I want you to think of sort of inventory of the things I've been giving you, like maps. There is the way we've been just looking at the Earth and finding how hooked you are on cubing and squaring. and still saying up and down. And think of all these changes coming and realize that these things, there's great, I don't know whether it actually was or now conspiracy, but it seems very reasonable that it was, the Dark Ages of making people respect the power structure, that we were the center of the earth and so forth. It all seems reasonable to me. And they certainly exercise the power on that basis. But I'm perfectly confident. Now I come to what I didn't talk to you about. If I could have a chair. Good. I think that higher one would be better. Thank you, sir. I said from the beginning, I was interested in how and why humans had been included in the universe, and why, the only phenomena we know that have been admitted to the discovery of these extraordinary, only mathematically expressible generalized principles. Seem to be very phenomenal. That whereas the Wright brothers, copying a wing foil of a bird, got something that would fly and did it nice and light. It wasn't mathematics. Bernoulli discovers the mathematics of pressure differentials in gases and penetrating bodies. Bernoulli's principle made possible then designing wings very much more effective. So today we have the capability to outfly all the birds in height and speed, to dive faster than any creature in the sea, deeper. We're able to outperform all the specialists in their areas. And I use the wings, and then you can now use the wings. They're interchangeable, we melt them, make better. But we have access to the designing principle of the universe. We don't know any other phenomena that indicates to me we must be here for some very, very important reason. Yet the same designing capability of the universe also had us deliberately born naked, absolutely helpless for months, absolutely ignorant, no experience, hungry, thirsty, curious, driven to take initiatives to survive, to learn only by trial and error. We had to come a very long way in our trial and error. Just in the rate of change in my lifetime is just incredible. We've gone from a 95% literacy when I was born to a 65% literacy world today. The changes, the acceleration here is just that way. Quite clearly we're coming to the point where I'd say, whatever our function we're designed for, we're about to be sort of going through an examination, see whether we really qualify to carry on with this access to these extraordinary laws. We're really semi-divine. Now, I'm going to talk about relative complexity of design. One design a single-family residence, where we now do it. 500 drawings will take care of every nail and 2x4. 500 drawings. For one to design an automobile, it takes 5,000. My house drawings, it's 32nd of inches to find the tolerance I have to give it. One to design an automobile, I'd have 10,000 of an inch, way subvisible, because there's so many reciprocating surfaces. Design a Boeing 747, you need 50,000 drawings, and some of the tolerances are a millionth of an inch. The technology of designing a Boeing 747, just coming to speed, it has to test out a cable of 650 miles an hour. You're not going to cruise into that and not make your money out of it at 650, but it has to be able to go 650, not get into trouble. 650 miles an hour is then 10 times 65 miles an hour. The resistance of bodies in the atmosphere increases second power of the velocity. The velocity of interaction of a Boeing 747 with the atmosphere at 650 miles an hour is 100 times the velocity of a hurricane. It's very hard for us to think about it. There it is. More engineering goes in one rivet in the Boeing 747 than all the engineering in an automobile. Incredibly good. So what we really have in those planes is really superb designing. And you go up, entering your plane, and up far the pilot's and engineer's cockpit. And all the whole walls are covered with instruments, everywhere instruments. Those instruments tell you about everything critical in your power plant or your airframe. Many, many years from the earliest of flying, we want to know why something went wrong. We've learned how you look for where things begin to go wrong, and rates have changed. So those instruments tell you then about anything that's going to get into trouble. And next to it you have an automated response. Now that Boeing 747, I'm next going to come to talking about the universe instead of an airplane. The universe is a design. When, in the old, earlier classical Newtonian way of looking at things, Newton really thought of things as his first law of motion is, a body persists in a state of rest or in a line of motion except as affected by other bodies. Others at rest are the normal. All these great charts we have at rest is the normal, no change. And then this abnormal is we plot things against time. With the speed of, there's certain things here that really surprise me. At any rate, Isaac Newton thought of time as an instant quality permeating universe, instant universe. Romer was his contemporary, and I'm so amazed that Newton take no attention in Romer's measuring and figuring the speed of light. The light had a speed the way sound had. And right, not until this century when Einstein, after measuring the speed of all radiation in vacuum on this planet, Einstein then said, then energy unfettered in vacuum, this is normal, and any other appearance of energy being where it's tying itself in a knot, basis of his thinking. But he also, in view of the fact that light had a speed, and we had, looking at the pole star, the magnitude of, whatever it is, 460 miles an hour, how many light years away is it pole star? 460?
I won't assert anything, it'll do.
I think it's around 460. There's a bright star on the end of the handle of the Big Dipper, the live show 100 years ago. You're looking at Orion's belt, there are two bright ones. One is 1,100 years ago, the other 1,600 years ago. You're looking at Andromeda, looking million years ago. And Einstein said, the universe, as observed, is an aggregate of non-simultaneous events. All of them are energy events, they're all transformations. They all have their own durations, so they're overlapping. I thought very good to give this a new name. I call it scenario universe. Scenario universe, a single frame picture of a caterpillar doesn't tell you it's going to be a butterfly. One single frame of the butterfly flying doesn't tell you it flies. It takes many frames. If we ever do learn how a butterfly flies, it's going to take millions of frames. To get any meaningful significance out of scenario universe, have long strips of episodes. And each one of us is episodes. And we overlap one another. You come in here, and life and death are very local events. Nothing to do with the universe. In a completely overlapping scenario, you have only some totally, all of your entropy, and what I call syntropy, simply balance out, but only some totally. Because you're putting it on at different rates and different magnitudes, overlappings, and bring around all kinds of fundamental ways. I look on the universe then as eternally regenerative. So I said an eternally regenerative universe. And all being episodic and so forth. I would say be essential in maintaining the integrity of an eternally regenerative universe to have some local mind, capability to discover principles, ability to inventory local problems and local problem solving in principle, in support of the integrity of an eternally regenerative universe. I've made my working hypothesis, this is why we're here. So we're given that access. So partially like those instruments and partially the automated response. And right, that became a working assumption. Then No, I think I've got enough points in here. So I can then see humanity going through all it's gone through and coming to, we're very much like a chicken, been inside an egg, enough nutriments, enough information to get to where we have our language, to get to where we're having a meeting such as we're having. But the eggs, we've used up all the nutriment now, and the egg shell is broken. We're into a complete reorientation in the universe. And that's why it's very tough on you making your own decisions. You're really using your mind about what it is you're doing. I don't think we're going to stay here if you can't all really make your own decisions that we are triangulating, we're tetrahedroning and so forth, which is as clear as can be we are. I don't think we're going to be able to go on. I think the acceleration is such we're going to know in a great hurry whether we're going to carry on or not, whether we're going to blow ourselves up one way or another, be terminated. There's something that seemed to be bothering me that I wanted to add in. In 1927, when I undertook to do what I'm doing, I actually made it as alternative to committing suicide. It was perfectly clear to me I would not be a success in the game of life the way I've been taught about earning a living. I never had it in me to organize myself to get your job or keep you from getting the job. Let the other guy have it. Anyway, I said, if I were committing suicide, what would I be doing? What are we? Each one of us is an inventory of experiences in this long climb from being born naked, helpless, to know words, and got to the point where we have words. And I said, I might have within my experience that something is a key experience that might be lost humanity at a critical time. So if I were to commit myself to only working for all humanity, never again looking out for self or family or my side, I might be wiser than keep carrying on. I said, I'm going to have to give up everything I've ever been taught to believe. By the word believe, I mean accepting explanations of physical phenomena without any experimental evidence. And I had this darling grandmother who said, when I'm 4, God loves humanity very much, and he sent his son to earth and had him born of a virgin. I didn't know what a virgin was before, but anyway. I said, Grandmother, of course I believe you. She said, I want you to believe me. I've many things that I believed, and kind of loyal, I was just loaded with them. I said, if I'm going to get anywhere useful on behalf of everybody, I'm going to have to do my own thinking and base everything on experimental evidence. I said, well, it's part of experimental evidence that humanity in general is very intuitively prone to join up with some kind of religion, that there's a sort of fundamental sense that we're not everything, there's something greater. I said, what experimental evidence do you have in this matter? I said, luckily I'd had a really very good scientific training. And I knew about these generalized principles. I said, that we discover these generalized principles, none of which ever contradict any of the others. They're all interaccommodative. Some of them are interaugmentative. I said, and they can only be mathematically expressed. And mathematics is purely intellectual. I said, there's quite clearly an intellectual integrity operating in the universe, and I'm overwhelmed by it. Therefore, I said, though I'm going to now have to commit myself to developing artifacts. Artifacts are going to require lots of materials, energy, tools. I don't have any money. I don't have anybody who thinks I make any sense whatsoever. Therefore, I'm going to have to assume that if I'm doing what nature wants done, I'll be supported in doing it. Somebody's got to make such an experiment. I saw that humanity, with the ecology, having been designed on this assumption that we are here for local universe information gatherers, local problem solvers, supporting the integrity, eternal regenerative universe, we're going to need an enormous amount of energy. And nature discovered that because not only we have 60% water and water freezing and boiling, but it couldn't have biological protoplasm any closer than 92 million miles from an atomic energy plant. All the stars are atomic energy plants. So nature, all the universe to work with, had us 92 million miles away. In order then to be able to get the energy to us, we have solar photosynthesis invented. This beautiful ability to take the random receipts when the cloud doesn't have to be there and converting beautiful orderly molecular structures completely anti-entropy, completely syntropic. And with that, those orderly molecules producing orderly species. That our planet Earth was the most anti-entropic place in the universe. And the human mind was by far the most powerful tool of anti-entropy. That we were then here for that function, I said, because the vegetation, in order to operate photosynthesis, they're going to have roots, so it could have enormous winds, yet not be blown down. And being rooted, it couldn't reach the other vegetation to procreate. The whole thing would break down, so nature invented all the mobile creatures. Worms were down below and insects on top, birds and you and I, to integrally come along and attract one another to knock off pollens, cross-pollinate. But nature doesn't say to the bee, I want you to go out and cross-pollinate things. It says, go after honey. I saw that nature then have human beings doing the right things for the wrong reasons. I said, no reason why I shouldn't do the right things for the right reasons. Now they're going to catch on. This might be a working assumption that we are here without function. So if I'm going to get on, it's only going to be because I'm doing what nature wants done. I've had to go on. I mean, nobody tell me a single thing. So I said, first things first. I got to understand structure. Many things you have to see. I have a good map, what it might be. And I've lived through now 55 years of miracles. I'm unable to budget anything. But I'm going to need all kinds of things. And it's been just, I'm going to have to give up this project, but if I can't get this special alloy aluminum, I meet in the street, an old friend of mine said, I'm now in research department at Alcoa, and I got this new alloy, would you like to try out some? He said that just 1 hour before I'm going to give up the project. This happened just like that all the way through. And Shirley, who's with me now, is my administrator in my office. And for the last quarter century, for instance, my total operating is $300,000 a year average. And we don't know where 1 cent of that's coming from. And I don't allow anybody in my office to promote. I don't have any agents. Things have to happen. It's just you ask spontaneously to come here. And all the things have to happen. When I say nature got her own destination rates, I must in no way frustrate what nature's trying to do. And we must really dare to go along with it. So I live absolutely blind. Yeah, it's 55 years I haven't gone bankrupt. I don't owe anybody a cent. So I'm living just one miracle. It's really terribly important to be able to tell you this. Because I didn't make it such a really scientific experiment, see how to get on. Many times what I think I need doesn't come. And I realize I'm on the wrong track. So what's the next important thing to do? This is the only way I can steer. And I really haven't taken a whole lot to actually produce physically, really involving millions and millions of dollars. Also, at the time that I made this compact to do this, I said, carrying on that kind of a way, you're liable to have some very extraordinary insights you've never had before. I said, if you do have extraordinary insights, can you count on yourself never to exploit for personal advantage? Can you count yourself never to become a guru? Can you trust yourself never to become a special son of God? Never to do anything in politics? Can you really trust yourself to always remember you were a throwaway? The only reason you qualify is you're a throwaway. You'll give yourself up any other way. And I really have been able to keep that, my word on that. I find, when you introduce me, often people say very extraordinary things. And I do have an extraordinary record, only because there are many people who would like to reward you, so there are 48 honorary doctorates and things like that. But I assure you, then farther going in my head, it makes me really worry about how to keep things really down. Because what is important about me is I am really an average, healthy human being. And I'm demonstrating that I can really do some very enormous things by sticking really to principles. Okay, that's the end. Thank you. all seen pictures of IMAX in cars and things, haven't you?
Yes.
There are some slides if you'd like to see some.
Yes.
Would you?
Yes. Like to show the slide?
My United States Pavilion in Montreal, Expo 67, 1967. That's 250 feet in diameter. It was designed for 5,000 people in there at the time. And the acoustics are so extraordinary that no matter with 5,000 people there talking to anybody, you couldn't hear the other voices around you at all. Really extraordinary operation. We had a platform halfway up. It's completely transparent, so you can look out all around. And this is a train that used to go through it. I put plexiglass domes, but the domes are inside, so you don't see them on the outside. They decided when they had the Olympic Games following that they were going to get rid of this railway in that area, so they left some holes in the sides of the dome. And the engineers, the city department of Montreal decided they'd like to weld up those holes. And they knew that plexiglass, you have newspapers burning beside you, it's very difficult to ignite it. But with using a acetylene blowtorch, it will ignite it. So they took fire extinguishers up on the platform with them, and 2 or 3 times got on fire to put it out. But then they used up all their fire extinguishers and went on very foolishly, and they caught fire, and the whole thing, the plexiglass burned out in a few minutes. I felt terribly when the world newspaper said it had been burned to the ground. It didn't hurt the dome at all because there's no interior support, so they would just expand without any damage. So it's sitting there today, and the city of Montreal feels about the way they do about the Eiffel Tower in Paris. They really love the form. So the students in McGill and so forth, they're all ranging. They'll get to using it again now. Next picture. This is one of our ray domes at the most northerly point of Greenland, nearest you can get to the North Pole. Next picture. This is one of our domes in Accra, Ghana, right on the equator. And this particular dome was built because the students in Accra, when I was visiting professor there 2 different years at University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, were very eager, because they have the bauxite in Ghana, to build themselves a dome which took advantage of what I've been telling them about in America, that the owners of my domes in America are so beset by the air conditioning people they don't pay attention to what I've been telling them. But the fact is that I found that if you had a metal dome such as this, in the sunlight, this convex surface diffuses the radiation of the sun, heats the atmosphere weighs less, has to rise, starts with thermal. So the thermal rising, if you have a large opening at the bottom and small opening at the top, it'll pull the air out of the bottom through the small opening at the top, and the Bernoulli principle works, and down comes a cold channel. So the students in Ghana were eager to find out whether that worked, and sure enough it did. They call it the chilling machine. This, I'm sorry to say, got destroyed. They had to move it, the grounds in the crowd. They moved it temporarily and didn't fasten it down, and a hurricane came along and picked it up and just got smashed. So light. Anyway, next picture. This is our dome down over the exact south pole of the planet. There's a lake a mile deep frozen there. And quite clearly, borings in that mile deep lake will tell you a lot about biological life, so the world scientists wanted to have that happen. But where you can't move around making borings, where the wind's up 160 miles an hour and snow drifting, so and have a very large dome. And this is stainless steel and aluminum. Went down in one Navy airplane. Next picture, please. We put up a hydraulic mast and next picture, please. Next picture again. It had to be the Arctic snow loads, 60 pounds a square foot. This had to be 600 pounds a square foot, because it had to be completely buried deeply in the snow. So it's incredibly strong. Yet one airplane, So my knowledge of the logistics of flying things around the world is very, very great when I give you the kind of information I've been giving you. Next picture. This is one on top of Mount Fuji. The weather radar station, the highest point of Mount Fuji. It went up with one helicopter and took hold like an eagle. And yet the walls are so delicate that microwaves go through and so forth. So, next picture. This is our first airlifting for the United States Marine Corps back in 1954. This is 2,000 square feet of floor space being lifted by the helicopter. Next picture. This is our latest dome in California. That's the old Queen Mary, which was purchased by show people, and they turned it into a hotel. It's in a place called Long Beach, near Los Angeles. And the Queen Mary and this large dome. But inside the dome we have the Spruce Goose, the huge, great wooden flying boat, the largest airplane that's ever been built. Its wingspan is 320 feet. The weight of the Queen Mary is 80,000 tons. They've taken out all the. She used to be 85,000, but took out 5,000 they didn't need as a hotel there. The dome weighs 300 tons against 80,000. The huge flying boat is 200 tons. The strength of the flying boat skin, the structure is all in the skin, and my dome is all in the skin. The skin is only 9 inches deep in the dome. The weight of the skin of the flying the Spruce Goose is 9 pounds per square foot. The weight of this dome is only 3 pounds per square foot. Little idea, a kind of capabilities. When I talk about I know how to take care of everybody. Want to understand this is the kind of experience we speak from. Next picture. There is a Spruce Goose inside of it. This framing is all been shot, cleaned up. Get an idea of the size of the dome. Next picture. This is the engineer designed it. Next picture. This is my earliest dimension house in 1927. Bring all the light down reflectively in the translucent ceilings and so forth. Next picture. This is the same structure being built at Beech Aircraft in 1944. I estimated that first down at 3 tons. It was in competition with a conventional single-family dwelling, which came out the best with bathrooms, everything you wanted, of 1927. 150 tons for the conventional house and the Dymaxion house, estimated 3 tons, but when I built it for Beech Aircraft, it came out exactly 3 tons. This had a ventilator on top, 18 feet in diameter, revolved so that this tail was always in low pressure. So it pulled air, the drag of the building operated air turbine, pulled air through various circuits inside the building, like a wind seam. Anyway, also, it was on a shaft. And when we have tornadoes, we have enormous drop in the pressure, atmospheric pressure. And buildings, you see, will explode, if I see that. But this had, that whole cap there rose up 6 feet like that, like the pressure valve on a steam boiler. Next picture. Then I got into producing single stamping bathrooms. This particular one is now actually being produced in West Germany in polyester fiberglass. I designed it before we had the polyester fiberglass and anything but rather large, small things, but I designed it for it, knowing it was coming. But that is now in production. Next picture, please. This is the vehicle. If I could deliver a building by air, whether you know highways and so forth, I want to be able to have a way of arriving by air, and I want to be able to make a spot landing like an eagle. So this is what I call twin jet stilts flying device, and you'll see them. In other words, it's a wingless affair, and this will come out. But this is pictures taken at Chicago World's Fair in 1933, and it drove the front wheels to the tractor and steer the rear. If you have a wheelbarrow in front of you and start over the open fields, it comes to depression and comes back and hits you in the stomach. But the wheelbarrow behind you around, you pull it out. Front steered cars, you push your wheels into the ground and skid your turns. But when you're pulling your wheels, she doesn't skid at all. we've just been having some talks with some big automobile people. We'll probably do I've never been in a car so stable as this. I could, because it's a vertical steering in the rear, I'm able to get up more than the 34 degrees angle steering usually have. I practiced to find what I could do, doing a little faster until I finally pulled the tire off the rim. But at 15 miles an hour, if I slowed down to 15 miles an hour, watch my speedometer, I could put my wheel over 90 degrees and spin with the inside wheel in the turn, just driving a circle 1 foot and go the opposite direction. Motorcycle cop trying to follow me just couldn't possibly, I just turned. But I've had all kinds of experiences with these things. Next picture, please. This is a miniature Earth on the roof of a building at Cornell University in 1951. And you're looking at, this is Russia here, Alaska, and there's Alaska and the United States, there's Greenland, and this is oriented so that its axis was parallel to the axis of the Earth. So if you look through the South Pole, this was installed up very high on tripod above the roof of the highest building at Cornell in 1951. If you looked up through the South Pole and lined it up at the North Pole, because you can see through the framework, there was a pole star. Then it was rotated so that Ithaca in New York was in zenith. So its attitude in the heavens was always exactly the same attitude as the big Earth. So when you went to the center of it, which you could go up on the platform and do, have your eye exactly the center, any star that was in zenith, any point was in two. It became a true, absolutely true planetarium. And it was very exciting because inside of it, because we also had that fly screen bronze, very bright, mounted on chicken wire here. And when there was a star, you're standing facing north, and you could really feel the twinkling of the star crossing a wire across the star. Now, for the first time in history, you began to feel your own Earth revolving to obscure the star. Absolutely clear you could do it. It was terribly exciting to have a really proper physical orientation. Next picture, please. I think that's enough. This is the Tenseiga business. Shoot a couple more. I don't know what's coming. This is that basketry dome where they, like the Tenseiga stars you saw, they went outside and one inside. This is where they just simply came together where they wanted to be. You were talking about doing a new dome, and we would do it in this manner when it comes out. These are all just 2x4s, and this is a 75-foot diameter dome made of nothing but 2x4s, and they just touch each other and are bolted where they want to be. They don't want to. There's no shear. Very extraordinary. And this does very much less material than used before. Next picture. This is that beach aircraft house. All the parts of the design had been nested, and that no part must weigh over 10 pounds, so any one man could handle 1 pound and put address it into the work. I think there's enough of these things. I want to give you a little feeling. When I talk to you, I'm talking to you from experience, really, of designing the thing itself, going along with all the chemistries, the development of better alloys. For all these years I've kept curves of all the changing physical characteristics of all the different materials you're dealing in, whether it's the metals or the plastics, whatever they might be. I found it extraordinary, as we mentioned last night, that when McCready built his little Gossamer Albatross, it was flown by a man pumping over the English Channel. Nobody mentioned anything about the materials. Masonry has a compression resistance of 50,000 pounds per square inch, what we call ultimate. Masonry joint only 50 pounds per square inch. It's 1,000 times stronger resisting compression and tension. Therefore, when we get to horizontal in buildings, you have your vertical walls, gravity helps things as a stone on top of the stone. But when you want to go horizontally, gravity then outplayed my 2 arms or 2 walls, there's a beam. And weight on top of that, the top becomes a fulcrum, and wants to bottom tries to pull apart. You need a tension. So wood had a good building was around 10,000 pounds tensile strength. So and at antiquity you had 50,000 compression in stone and 10,000 in wood. The wood rotted out and burned out, so you don't see much of it in the antiquities. Now, suddenly we got to production steel in 1851. Production steel in 1851, tension and compression of the steel came up to 50,000, complete parity with the stone. 1883, Brooklyn Bridge, and he put in high carbon steel, got up to 70,000 tension, the same weight. World War I, we got some aircraft steels, very thin wall too, we used of chrome aluminum steel. Got up to 110,000 tension, same weight. So now you're double what you were in mild steel of 1851. World War II, we got into chrome nickel steel, 350,000 tension, and wouldn't rust. But McCready had was what we call high carbon. There's the carbon fibers. 600,000 pounds of square inch tensile strength, the same weight as the mild steel. So that's doing 12 times as much. That's amazing. No newspaper mentioned this. And his skin was mylar, which was one mil thick, was incredible strength. McCready then went on to build his plane, which was sun-flown from approximately Paris to England. Sun-powered, and got to 10,000 feet altitude, flying at 30 miles an hour. I think it's incredible things. And I found no newspaper really talking the kind of way I've been trying to talk to you today about the invisible capabilities. But the point is, in the invisible capabilities, 1970, we crossed the threshold of doing more with high performance per erg of energy, per pound of material, and second of time invested, such a margin of capability that 1970 I could demonstrate absolutely irrefutably that within the 10 years of the design revolution we could have all humanity living high standing men but have known. Be unfamiliar in many ways, just as the radio was unfamiliar before, but incredibly satisfactory. That's it.
We'll now be breaking for tea and then reconvening at 5 o'clock to hear Richard Dawkins on principles of evolution in the galaxy.